On the INC Political Radar.
With 3 weeks left until Election Day, presidential hopefuls Barack Obama and John McCain are hitting the battleground states harder than ever. The final governor's debate is tomorrow night. Can Jill Long Thompson close the gap that current polls are showing, or is Governor Daniels too tough to beat? And Democrat Mike Montagano continues to hammer away at Congressman Mark Souder. Will the Obama factor make a difference in this race? Good evening, I'm Melissa Long. Welcome to Political Radar on Indiana's News Center. It's just 21 days until the November election, crunch time for all of the candidates. We want to keep you up to date on all the latest polls, policy statements, and strategies. And of course, we want to hear from you. So call us with questions and comments at 483-8331. We will be taking your calls throughout the show. But first, let's take a look at what the candidates for president were doing today. ABC's Christiane Klein has the latest.
With 3 weeks until the election, it's a battle for the battlegrounds. Barack Obama is now focusing much of his attention in Ohio. By the time Wednesday's debate rolls around, he will have spent 5 out of 7 days in the state, sometimes literally going door to door to try to pick up votes.
I hope everybody's going to take this election and see if we can bring about the kind of change we need. I've really enjoyed campaigning in Ohio, and I think that we're going to turn this thing around.
Ohio is a must-win for John McCain. No Republican has ever won the presidency without it. But in several recent polls, he's trailing Obama in that key state. Campaigning in another must-win state, Virginia, McCain seemed to relish his underdog role.
What America needs in this hour is a fighter, someone who puts all his cards on the table and trusts the judgment of the American people.
Over the weekend, the McCain campaign stepped back from some of their negative campaigning of the last few weeks. A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows 59% of voters believe McCain is more focused on attacking his opponent than addressing the issues. Only 26% say that about Obama. Obama now leads McCain 53% to 43% in the new ABC News Washington Post poll. No modern presidential candidate has ever come back from an October deficit that large to win the presidency. Christiane Klein, ABC News, Washington.
And speaking of polls, here are some of the latest on the presidential race. The Gallup Daily Tracking Poll shows Barack Obama holding a 52 to 43.5% lead over John McCain. The Reuters C-SPAN Zogby poll has Obama 48 and McCain just 4 points behind at 44. And in Indiana, John McCain has actually widened his lead just a little bit. Last week he was ahead by 2.5 points. Now it's Obama 45, McCain 48.8, putting him ahead by 3.8 points. Well, the person who is generating perhaps the most excitement on the Republican ticket, Sarah Palin, is planning her first campaign stop in the Hoosier State on Friday. We're told she will hold a rally in the Indianapolis area. Little more than that is known right now, but we will let you know more as we learn it. Her visit reflects Indiana's relatively new status as a toss-up or a battleground state with only 11 electoral votes as opposed to Ohio's 20 or Florida's 27. The Hoosier State isn't a high priority for either campaign, but the fact that they are spending some time here and some money here at all is quite a change from the past 4 decades. And because of John McCain's slim lead in the state, Michelle Obama, the wife of Democratic presidential nominee Barack Obama, will hold a rally right here in the Summit City Wednesday afternoon. The free event will be at Headwaters Park at 1. Mrs. Obama has visited Fort Wayne twice before during the primary season. And a reminder, please give us a call at 483-8331 to let us know what you think about any that you see tonight. Well, it was a busy weekend for the candidates, and of course the economy continues to drive much of the debate. After one of the worst weeks in decades, the stock market closed up today nearly 938 points. And to help us sort out what all of this means for the candidates is Tracy Warner, editorial page editor with our partner in news, the Journal Gazette. And welcome, Tracy. It's always good to have you. Let's start with the economy. And we know that Barack Obama made a major policy address today on that subject. But first, I wanted to ask you, one of the silver linings of the whole economic mess, the price of oil is dropping drastically down, some places under $3 a gallon. Since the economic crisis generally is thought to benefit the Democrats, does anything good with the economy conversely benefit John McCain, or doesn't it work that way?
Well, you know, to the extent that that voters associate McCain with George Bush, I think it probably helps McCain a little bit. That we've had so much bad economic news over the last week, and at the same time we saw McCain go down in some of the polls, and so now we're seeing some good news, and I think he'll get a little bump out of it.
Yeah, you know, he's probably just grasping for anything good. So we had a good stock market day and a good gas day, so maybe he's feeling a little better today.
Under $3 is great to see.
It is good for anybody, for everybody. I did want to correct one thing. We did say Michelle Obama was going to be at Headwaters, but she's going to be at the Grand Wayne Center. We wanted to make sure that everyone got that correction. Barack Obama did make a major policy speech today on the economy, and among the proposals in what he calls his middle-class rescue plan are to give businesses a tax credit for every U.S. job that they create, and a 90-day moratorium on home foreclosures for people who are making a good faith effort at making their payments. How do you think that's going to play for him?
Oh, you know, it won't hurt. I'm not sure that the tax credit for business really resonates with a lot of individual voters. The moratorium on the foreclosures, I think, will ring with some more voters. I think Obama needs to keep pushing tax cuts for the middle class, and you know, that is part of his plank, and as long as he keeps pushing that, I think that more than the other things will help him out.
John McCain debuted what's being called a feisty new stump speech today. He says he's fighting back, and you know, he's really the scrappy underdog who's got to pull this out at the last minute. What do you think he's got to do to turn this around? Is there anything he can do?
I think he needs to drop the measuring the drapes line that he uses.
That's kind of an old line.
Yes,
it's been used.
Actually, Bush 1 and Bush 2 both used it, and it didn't work. Bush 1 used it in '92 about Clinton, and in '96 Bush 2 used it about Congress and lost both of them.
Yeah.
But you know, McCain, interestingly enough, is kind of trying to distance himself from the president in this, and McCain obviously is behind in the polls, and he's struggling, and I think we'll see a couple of new stump speeches here in probably in the next week.
We'll be trying them out. All right, thanks, Tracy, and we will be right back with some of your. Welcome back to Political Radar. Before we talk about the governor's race, I do want to take some of the calls that we have into the newsroom right now, and let's talk to David. You want to say something about Barack Obama? David, are you there?
Yes, hi. It just blows my mind that so many people are for this guy when he's had so many dangerous past associations with Resco heirs and Jeremiah Wright, how he doesn't explain himself further about that.
What would you like John McCain to do about that? He's talking a lot about it.
No, not John McCain. It was Barack Obama is who I was concerned about. I just, whenever he's confronted, he always says that we're not talking about the issues, that we're focusing more on negative attacks. But I think this is a very legitimate issue, is that he should explain himself in greater detail about these people that he's had deals with.
Well, Tracy Warner, he seems to have been able to make that work for him, saying we're not talking about the issues. I mean, I know John McCain has been talking a lot about these associations, but it isn't really seeming to matter much. If you were Barack Obama, I guess, what would you say?
I think voters are going to decide the issues. You know, Democrats in the past have found themselves on the defensive too much. Willie Horton, with Michael Dukakis in 1988, he spent a lot of the campaign trying to defend himself from that. Bush set the agenda.
Right.
So I think Obama doesn't want to get caught in this. He wants to change the subject. You know, McCain has some past dealings too with Charles Keating, and Obama, of course, has brought that up. But I mean, in the end, voters will decide if this is relevant or not. But I do see why Obama's trying not to spend a whole lot of time defending himself.
Certainly understandable.